Good evening, guys. Hopefully, we're getting on. Let's just see if I can get it to go. Good. Yeah, we've got rain here, Cleo. It's nice. It was nice and hot one of the days. It was like up to 70, and now it's raining, and my yard's a lake. Yeah. Um, does, we're gonna do the prayer intentions. Mary, we're praying for your two grandsons to find Yeshua. Cleo, your friend's grandson on a ship in the Middle East. Prayers for him to be safe and come back home safe and sound. And your friend in Kansas. Hi, Jane Marie. Her name is Wita. That's not bad, Mary. That's awesome. Prayer intentions for my Aunt Jenny, for her two sons. One is in China teaching children how to speak English, and the other son, my cousin Mike, is in Australia. And Jane for her grandson's surgery. Let's pray for that to go very well. You're welcome. And for me, my brother John, he needs the prayers that he needs to know Yeshua very badly. And I did find some names, guys. I don't know if anybody knows them, but like Yahweh, it's spelled Yahweh. It means Lord Jehovah. And here's another one, Adonai, Adonai, means the Lord our sovereign. And Elohim, Elohim, means mighty creator. And Elroy, Elroi, mean God who sees. Let's see. El Shaddai, Elshaddai, means the Lord God Almighty. Jehovah Rapha means the Lord our healer. So those are some of the names that Yeshua is called. So, and I do want to read for you ladies this. I'm going to read the prayer that it is for March 22nd. It's called Open Heart. For those who listen with open hearts will receive more revelation, but those who don't listen with open hearts will lose what little they think they have. And that's in Mark chapter 4, verse 25. In order to listen with an open heart, we need to shelve our fixes and defenses. We need to lay down our self-protective armor and pride, folks. We need to allow another reality besides our own to exist and have meaning. Those who know how to listen well experience a greater depth of connection with others. They learn empathy, which is a deep form of understanding and care, and that will enlarge their capacity to grow in wisdom. Every day, wisdom offers us the ability and wonderful invitation to listen with an open heart. And here's a small prayer for you ladies. Jesus, I lay down my foolish pride and everything I think I know in favor of growing in your wisdom and truth. I know your love is expansive, and so is your wisdom. It is simple yet complex and full of life-giving fruit. I yield to you. I choose to listen to you and others, and I trust your spirit to guide me. And then I have another little book. It is, sorry guys, it's called The 100 Days of Strength for Women. And I got these both at Walmart. I don't know if you guys, you you probably all do go to Walmart, but this is where I found them, in Walmart. And the day, today's what? Sorry, guys, I'm kind of the 29th. Okay. I think, no, this is 22nd. Sorry, guys. 21. 22. It says, sweet dreams. Fully awake, he rebuked the storm and shouted to the sea, hush, calm down. All at once, the wind stopped howling and the water became perfectly calm. And that's in Mark 4, verse 39. That's all right. The wind picked up and seemed to come from all directions. The boat began to rock side to side and pitch forward and back. Lightning lit the pitch black sky. Thunder rumbled and rain pelted. The disciples should have been sleeping, but they were so anxious about the weather that they actually thought they might lose their lives that night. Stressful situations and events can cause temporary insomnia. The disciples worried about a violent storm and couldn't close their eyes. You may also worry about storms in your life. Troubles might surround you, but Jesus knows they exist, and he will never leave nor forsake you. He is right by your side, and he can calm your anxiousness and allay your fears. God, when the storms of life come, please help me to trust that you are with me. You will take care of me through it all. You can calm my fear and anxiety with just one word. So, like I said, it's like I got these both at Walmart. So, and we're going to be doing this one tonight, guys, the Bible trivia. So let's get going. Yeah, it probably was Yeshua. Because back in Jesus's time, there were the Hebrew alphabet did not have a J, so Yeshua was probably the correct spelling. But when we put it in English, they thought J would be better. So I say Yeshua all the time, and people look at me funny, and it's like, I'm sorry, but I'm calling him by the right name. All right, guys. Here's a good one. The Bible was originally written in what 3 languages? The Bible was originally written in what 3 languages? Because 2 of them were from the Old Testament, and the New Testament was written in a different language. Yep, Hebrew was one of them. And what did Jesus? I know he spoke Hebrew, but what other countries were around them? Because it was Aramaic, yep. Hebrew and Aramaic, and what was the third one? I can kind of give you a hint. The Parthians that no longer exist. The old, yep, Greek. Thank you, Jericho. Hey, how are you? And I also do have a Daily Strength for Men for my husband. And I can give you okay, and I keep forgetting the date, the 29th. So that's March. I know I'm kind of going with stuff. Okay, March 29th. Passage, verse and context. It's Job 38, verse 1 through 5, and then verse 42, or chapter 42, verse 1 through 6. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind. Who is this that darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Gird up your loins like a man. I will question you, and you shall declare to me, where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Or who stretched the line upon it? Then Job answered the Lord, I know that you can do all things, and that no purpose of yours can be thwarted. Who is this that hides counsel without knowledge? Therefore, I have uttered what I did not understand, things too wonderful for me that I did not know. Hear, and I will speak. I will question you, and you declare to me. I have heard of you by the hearing of the ear, but now my eyes see you. Therefore, I despise myself and repent in dust and ashes. So that's a good one for like the daily strength for men. And like I said, you can find them at Walmart, and I'm betting you can find them on Amazon or eBay, folks. But those are the things I did. All right, we're going to start with kings, pharaohs, and other rulers, guys. All right. First question, guys. What king hosted a banquet where a phantom hand left a message on the palace wall? You can find that in Daniel 5, verses 1 through 9. Which king hosted a banquet where a phantom hand left a message on the palace wall? You can find that in Daniel 5, verses 1 through 9. What king hosted a banquet? Not Darius. Mary, you got it right. Belshazar, Belshazzar, or whatever. Okay, here's a good one. What king of Israel was unalived while he was drunk? And that is in 1 Kings chapter 16 through verses 8 through 10. Second question. What king of Israel was unalived while he was drunk? And that's in 1 Kings chapter 16, verses 8 through 10. Not David, hon. You can find the answer in 1 Kings chapter 16, verses 8 through 10. And I don't mind if anybody wants to look it up either, because that's what I usually do it on any of the other people's. The answer can be found in 1 Kings chapter 16, verses 8 through 10, folks. What king of Israel was unalived while he was drunk? Anybody got any other answers? Not Asa. All right, guys. The answer to that is Elah. E-L-A-H. Elah. I think that's how it's called. how it's spelled. All right. Next question. What king of Salem was also a priest of the Most High God? What king of Salem was also a priest of the Most High God? And that can be found in Genesis 14, verse 18. Oh. Huh. That's okay. That's cool, Mary. I like that. Yep. Jericho got that one. Okay. And that was Melchizedek. For the what king of Salem was also a priest of the Most High God? Okay. What king of Gerar, Gerar, took Sarah away from Abraham? What king of Gerar took Sarah away from Abraham? Number 4. And that's the answer can be found in Genesis 20, verse 2, guys. What king of Gerar took Sarah away from Abraham? What king of Gerar took Sarah? And that's, yeah, Jericho and Mary, Abimelech. That's in Genesis 20, verse 2. Okay. Number 5, fifth question, guys. What Hebrew captive interpreted the dreams of the Egyptian Pharaoh? What Hebrew captive interpreted the dreams of the Pharaoh, of the Egyptian Pharaoh? That's all right, Mary. I can barely say half the names of the Old Testament, so. What Hebrew captive interpreted the dreams of the Egyptian Pharaoh? That's in Genesis 41, verses 1 through 36. And Cleo and Jericho got it right. Joseph was the answer. Joseph. Okay. All right, next question. What 3 kings listened to the prophet Elisha as he prophesied to the accompaniment of a harp? What 3 kings listened to the prophet Elijah as he prophesied to the accompaniment of a harp, folks? That is number 6. And you can find that in 2 Kings chapter 3, verses 11 through 19. What 3 kings listened to the prophet Elijah as he prophesied to the accompaniment of a harp? And you guys can look that up. It's in 2 Kings chapter 3, verses 11 through 19. I'm drinking a blackberry citrus tea tonight. What 3 kings listened to the prophet Elijah as he prophesied to the accompaniment of a harp? And it is found in 2 Kings chapter 3, verse 11 through 19. That's where the answers lie, folks. Yeah, Jehoshaphat was one. He was Jehoshaphat of Judah. What are the other two, guys? What are the two kings? Because we know Jehoshaphat is one from Judah. There's two other kings. And like I said, you can look it up. It's in 2 Kings chapter 3, verses 11 through 19. Does anybody know the other two? Yes, Israel and Edom. Thank you, Jericho. Joram of Israel, and it just says, and the king of Edom from 2 Kings chapter 3, verse 11 through 19. All right. What king attacked the Israelites on their way into Canaan, only to be completely destroyed later? Yeah, it was. Okay, what king attacked the Israelites on their way into Canaan, only to be completely destroyed later, folks? That's number 7. You can find that in Numbers 21, verses 1 through 3. What king attacked the Israelites on their way into Canaan, only to be completely destroyed later? And that can be found in Numbers 21, verses 1 through 3, guys. Yep, Mary got it. The king of Arad. That is the answer. The king of Arad got completely destroyed by the Israelites because the king attacked them. All right, next question. What king of Sidon gave his daughter Jezebel as a wife to Ahab? What king of Sidon gave his daughter Jezebel as a wife to Ahab? That's number 8. This is in 1 Kings chapter 16, verse 31, folks. I also have the next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday off because my bosses are going down to Tennessee with the oldest son, the oldest of the bosses. His son just turned 21, so they're going down to have some fun, which is nice because it's like, hey, gives me a few days off, which is nice. That was number 8. Yes, Jericho, you got it right. Ethabal. Okay. Number 9. What king of Bashan was famous for having an enormous iron bed? What king of Bashan was famous for having an enormous bed? That's number 9. Okay. And you can find the answer in Deuteronomy chapter 3, verse 11, folks. What king of Bashan was famous for having an enormous iron bed? That's in Deuteronomy chapter 3, verse 11. Yep, Jericho, you got it right. Og. Og was that answer for having an enormous bed. Okay. Number 10, guys. Who was the last king of Judah? Who was the last king of Judah? And the answer can be found in 2 Kings chapter 25, verses 1 through 7. Who was the last king of Judah? You can find it in 2 Kings chapter 25, verses 1 through 7. Ugh. Who was the last king of Judah, folks? This is in 2 Kings chapter 25, verses 1 through 7. Cleo and Jericho, Zedekiah. Yes. That is the answer. Zedekiah. Yep. All right. Number 11. What king of Hazor organized an alliance against Joshua? What king of Hazor, Hazor, organized an alliance against Joshua? And you can find that answer in Joshua 11, verses 1 through 5. What king of Hazor organized an alliance against Joshua, folks? You can find that in Joshua 11, verses 1 through 5. Not Canaan. What king of Hazor, Hazor, organized an alliance against Joshua, folks? And that's in Joshua 11, verse 1 through 5. I know, I get the same way, Cleo. That's why I like to spell them out so everybody can. Mary, you got it right. Jabin. That's in Joshua 11, verses 1 through 5. All right. Number 12. What military man captured 31 kings? What military man captured 31 kings? That's number 12. And it's funny because the answer is the thing I got to tell you. It's in Joshua 12, verse 9 through 24, folks. Because it says Joshua 12, verse 9 through 24. That's what military man captured 31 kings. Joshua. That's awesome. Yep. All right. What king of Moab sent the prophet Balaam to curse Israel? What king of Moab sent the prophet Balaam to curse Israel? That's number 13. And that you can find the answer in Numbers 22, verses 2 through 6. What king of Moab sent the prophet Balaam to curse Israel, folks? And this is found in Numbers 22, verses 2 through 6. What king of Moab sent the prophet Balaam, Balaam, to curse Israel, folks? You can find that in Joshua. Nope, that's 13. It's in Numbers 22, verses 2 through 6. Yep, Jericho, you got it right. Balak. And Jane, yeah, you got it right too. All right. Number 14. What king of Mesopotamia was sent by God to conquer the faithless Israelites? And the king of Mesopotamia was sent by God to conquer the faithless Israelites. That's number 14. And you can find that in Judges 3, verse 8, folks. That's where you can find the answer to what king of Mesopotamia was sent by God to conquer the faithless Israelites. And that can be found in Judges chapter 3, verse 8. And that was 14. What king of Mesopotamia was sent by God to conquer the faithless Israelites? It's in Judges 3, verse 8, folks. Yep, Jericho, you got it right. Cushan. I'm not even going to pronounce that last name of it, but it's in Judges chapter 3, verse 8. Okay. Now, here's the next question. What Canaanite king of the time of the Judges was noted for having 900 iron chariots? What Canaanite king of the time of the Judges was noted for having 900 iron chariots? And that is number 15. And you can find that in Judges 4, verse 2 and 3. Judges chapter 4, verse 2 and 3. Yeah. Definitely some interesting names in the Old Testament. Jabban. Mary, you got it right. Jabban was the name. All right. Next question. What son of Gideon was proclaimed king in Shechem? What son of Gideon was proclaimed king in Shechem? That's number 16. You can find that answer in Judges 9, verse 6. What son of Gideon was proclaimed king in Shechem, folks? And it's in Judges 9, verse 6. Yep, Abimelech. Mary, you got it right. All right. Next question. What king of the Amalekites was captured by Saul and cut into pieces by Samuel, folks? What king of the Amalekites was captured by Saul and cut into pieces by Samuel? And this is in 1 Samuel chapter 15, verses 8 and 32. What king of the Amalekites was captured by Saul and cut into pieces by Samuel? And that can be found in 1 Samuel chapter 15, verses 8 and 32, folks. Mary got it right. Agag. All right. Our next question. What much married king is considered the author of the Song of Songs? What much married king is considered the author of the Song of Songs? That's number 2. And it's in the Song of Songs, folks. Solomon, yes. Jericho, you got it right. The Song of Solomon. And that's in 1 verse 1. All right. Next question. What Philistine king did David seek refuge when he fled from Saul? What Philistine king did David seek refuge with when he fled from Saul, folks? That's number 19. And that is in 1 Samuel chapter 21, verse 10, folks. What much married king? Oh, never mind that one. That's number 18. What Philistine king did David seek refuge with when he fled from Saul, folks? That was number 19. And that's in 1 Samuel chapter 21, verse 10. Mary and Jericho, Achish. That's a weird name, but that's cool. Okay. Next question, guys. What shepherd boy, the youngest of 8 sons, was anointed by Samuel in front of his brothers? That's number 20. And then you can find this in 1 Samuel chapter 16, verses 6 through 13. What shepherd boy, the youngest of 8 sons, was anointed by Samuel in front of his brothers? Yes, David. Cleo, Jericho, you got it right. David was the answer. Okay. Next question. What king wanted to see miracles when the arrested Jesus was sent to him? This should be easy because that's coming up next week, or after this week. It's next week because next week is Palm Sunday. What king wanted to see miracles when the arrested Jesus was sent to him? And you can find that in Luke 23, verse 8, folks. Which king wanted to see miracles performed by Jesus? Herod, yes. Everybody got that one right. Unlucky me, I'm going to be fasting that entire week, Palm Sunday to Easter Sunday. All right. Number 22, guys. What king of Tyre sent cedar logs and craftsmen to King David? And that is number 22. So let's see. The answer is in 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 11. What king of Tyre sent cedar logs and craftsmen to King David? That's in 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 11, folks. Anybody else want to guess? I do see somebody that's got it right. Yep. Jericho, Mary, you guys got it right. Hiram, or Hiram. I guess that's how you would. Hiram, yeah, Hiram. All right. Number 23. What prophet had a vision of a time when the Lord would gather the kings of the earth together and put them all in a pit? What prophet had a vision of a time when the Lord would gather the kings of the earth together and put them all in a pit? Number 23. This is in... Oh, geez, I'm going to have to say the answer because it's in Isaiah 24, verse 21 and 22, guys. So Isaiah is the answer for that one. But here's the next question. From the choices of David's sons, what man... Yeah. From the choices of David's sons, what man, David's oldest, tried to make himself king of Israel? A, Absalom, or Adonijah, or Amnon? A, B, or C, folks? From the choices of David's sons, which man, David's oldest, tried to make himself king of Israel? Absalom, Adonijah, or Amnon? And that is number 24. A, B, or C, folks? Absalom is A, B is Adonijah, and C is Amnon. And you can find that in 1 Kings chapter 1, verses 5 through 53. Well, Jane Marie got it right, folks. It's B, Adonijah, Adonijah. Adonijah was the dude that tried to make himself king of Israel. All right, next question, guys. What wise king made an alliance with Egypt when he married the Pharaoh's daughter? What wise king made an alliance with Egypt when he married the Pharaoh's daughter? And that is number 25. It's in 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 1. What wise king made an alliance with Egypt when he married the Pharaoh's daughter? And this is in 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 1. Solomon, yes. Cleo, Mary, yes. All right, next question. What Egyptian king gave refuge to Jeroboam when he fled from Solomon, folks? What Egyptian king gave refuge to Jeroboam when he fled from Solomon? And this is in 1 Kings. The answer can be found in 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 40. That's number 26. The answer can be found in 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 40. For the question of what Egyptian king gave refuge to Jeroboam when he fled from Solomon? Mary and Jericho, you got it right. I do not know how to pronounce that. I would say Shishak. All right. Number 27. What king had a strange dream about an enormous fruitful tree that was suddenly chopped down with only a dry stump left? What king had a strange dream about an enormous fruitful tree that was suddenly chopped down with only a dry stump left? And that's number 27. You can find that in Daniel 4, verses 10 through 18, folks. That's where you can find the answer of what king had a strange dream about an enormous fruitful tree that was suddenly chopped down with only a dry stump left. That's in Daniel 4, verse 10 through 18. Okay, Jericho got it right. Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, number 28, folks. What man, one of Solomon's officials, had his reign over Israel foretold by the prophet Ahijah? What man, one of Solomon's officials, had his reign over Israel foretold by the prophet Ahijah? And that can be found in 1 Kings chapter 11, verses 26 through 40, guys. What man, one of Solomon's officials, had his reign over Israel foretold by the prophet Ahijah? And you can find that in 1 Kings chapter 11, verses 26 through 40. Ugh. Does anybody have a guess? Yep, Jeroboam. Thank you, Jericho, you got it right. Jeroboam was the answer. Okay. Next question, guys. What king of Judah was constantly at war with King Jeroboam of Israel? You can find that answer in 1 Kings chapter 15, verse 6. What king of Judah was constantly at war with King Jeroboam of Israel? And you can find that in 1 Kings chapter 15, verse 6. That's where the answer lies. No, I don't think you guys are right, but it's in 1 Kings chapter 15, verse 6. But it's not Rehoboam or not Nabad. I'll give you a hint, guys. It starts with an A. The name of the dude starts with an A. And it's in 1 Kings chapter 15, verse 6. Yep, Mary, you got it right. Abijam or Abijah. Okay. Next question. What king was confronted by the prophet Nathan because of his adulterous affair? Oh, I didn't know that. Maybe some of these are a little off. I'm going to have to look up some of these myself because sometimes it's really weird. Okay. What king was confronted by the prophet Nathan because of his adulterous affair? That's number 30. This is in 2 Samuel, guys, chapter 12, verse 1 through 15. That's good. And Jericho, you got it right. David, that's in 2 Samuel chapter 12, verses 1 through 15. For the prophet, what king was confronted by the prophet Nathan because of his adulterous affair? And it was David. All right. Next question. What king of Israel reigned only 2 years and was unalived while he was fighting against the Philistines? And this can be found in 1 Kings chapter 15, verse 26 and 27, folks. What king of Israel reigned only 2 years and was unalived while he was fighting against the Philistines? And that is that was number 31. This is in 1 Kings chapter 15, verses 26 and 27, guys. Nadab. Yes, Jericho, you got it right. Nadab was the answer to that question. Number 32, guys. Spell out the name of the man who violently protested having a king in Israel, though he himself anointed the first two kings. Spell out the name of the man who violently protested having a king in Israel, though he himself anointed the first two kings. That is number 32. And you can find the answer in 1 Samuel 8 through 10. I basically just gave, Jericho, Samuel. I just gave the answer, Samuel. All right. Next question, number 33. What city did King Jeroboam use as his capital when the northern tribes split from the southern tribes? What city did King Jeroboam use as his capital when the northern tribes split from the southern tribes? That's number 33. You can find that in 1 Kings chapter 14, verse 17, folks. What city did King Jeroboam use as his capital when the northern tribes split from the southern tribes, folks? You can find the answer in 1 Kings chapter 14, verse 17. Starts with a T, guys. Yep, Mary, you got it right. Tirzah. Tirzah, yeah. That is the answer. And you can find that in 1 Kings chapter 14, verse 17. Okay. Number 34. What king of Israel reigned only 7 days and unalived himself by burning down his palace around him? What king of Israel reigned only 7 days and unalived himself by burning down his palace around him? That's number 34. So this is in 1 Kings chapter 16, verse 15 and 18, guys. Which king unalived himself? He only reigned for 7 days and unalived himself by burning down his own palace around him. And you can find it in 1 Kings chapter 14. Okay, what? 34. Oh, never mind. 1 Kings chapter 16, verses 15 and 18. Sorry. I'll give you a little hint. His name starts with a Z, guys. The letter Z. Zimri, yes, you guys got it right. Zimri. Okay. Chapter 35. What king of Ethiopia was supposed to aid Hezekiah in breaking the power of the Assyrians? What king of Ethiopia was supposed to aid Hezekiah in breaking the power of the Assyrians? And that is number 35. So you can find the answer in 2 Kings chapter 19, verse 9, folks. What king of Ethiopia was supposed to aid Hezekiah in breaking the power of the Assyrians? That's in 2 Kings verse 19, verse 9, folks. That's where you find the answer. Does anybody have a clue? What king of... Yep, Mary, you got it right. Tirhakah. Yeah, that's in 2 Kings chapter 19, verse 9. Tirhakah was the answer. All right. One more and then we'll end with the prayer. Okay. What king led Israel into sin by allowing his evil wife to introduce Baal worship into the country? What king led Israel into sin by allowing his evil wife to introduce Baal, called B-A-A-L, 2 A's, worship into the country? That's number 36. You can find that in 1 Kings chapter 16, verse 29 through 33. And Jericho, you got it right. Ahab. Ahab was the answer. So, all right, guys. We're going to say the Armor of God prayer for the way out. So, and you can find this in Ephesians 6, but you can look it up on any search engine, folks. The Armor of God. I put on and stand firm with the belt of truth buckled around my waist. I am safe and secure with the breastplate of righteousness, guarding my heart from evil, helping me live a life that honors you. I diligently put on the gospel shoes of peace, willing to go wherever you ask of me. I take and stand behind the shield of faith, protected against Satan's fiery darts of doubt, fear, lies, and deceit. Now on my head I place the helmet of salvation, keeping my mind on you. I grab hold in my hand of the sword of the Spirit, the word of Yeshua, sharp and true. I am prepared to live today in spiritual victory in Yeshua's name. Amen, folks. Amen. God bless each and every one of you. And don't forget, be ready in all seasons, folks, because we do not know the time nor the day that Yeshua will come down to get his followers. So thank you. Have a good night. God bless each and every one of you, and I will see you in the next video.